Let's talk more about Amazon Prime Day right now. Sucharita Kodali is Forrester Research retail analyst. Sucharita, it's good to see you. I know you've been listening in on the conversation that we have been having about Prime Day. How do you think about Prime Day and how it's evolved, how it has changed over the years, and how significant it is for Amazon and what it sort of signifies about Amazon as a company?
I always saw Prime Day as trying to replicate the success of 11/11 in China, where it is where in China, it's this artificial holiday as well, but it's wildly successful. It actually generates almost 10% of all of e-commerce in that country, and it gives tremendous power and energy to a couple of the key incumbents in that market. And I think that Amazon would have loved to see that replicated in the United States. And I think that they had a lot of energy in the first day of Prime Day, which I believe was in 2016. I think it grew for a couple of years, but there was just so much mocking of the offers, that they weren't that compelling, that the discounts may not have been as great as people would have expected. And then this year, you have this, exactly as you pointed out, they did it whenever they wanted, and you have this separation of just a few months' time between the two Prime Days. It's sort of, they took a lot of the thunder out of it being an annual sale by having it just a few months ago on the eve of Christmas back in October. So I think that it has not achieved the cultural significance around the world that Amazon would like it to achieve, and I think that in many ways it's sort of a ho-hum sales event at this point.
Sucharita, I've heard some chatter recently that Amazon may have a second Prime Day during the holiday season. If they do have that event, how devastating would it be, let's say, to the department store sector?
Well, they had a Prime Day last October, and I think that was essentially a good dry run for what it would be if they had another one. I'm not worried if there's another Prime Day. I think that most physical retail, assuming that these new COVID variants don't create another shutdown in the U.S. economy, the physical stores and the malls should have actually a pretty strong recovery, and they should see really, really tremendous year-over-year growth and possibly even comping their 2019 sales numbers. So what that would suggest is that Prime Day, another Prime Day, just seems like it could potentially be a lot of spinning of the wheels, and not necessarily something that generates a lot of energy or value for either Amazon or the shopper shopping on its site.
You know, Sucharita, you mentioned that maybe Prime Day now is not quite the bonanza that maybe Amazon wanted it to be when it was first conceived a few years back. But as we mentioned, as you know, the company's competitors are getting in on this day as well. Do you think that the industry at large is happy to have a made-up shopping event sometime in the summer, even if it is not at the magnitude of an 11/11, the Singles Day event that Alibaba has?
You know, I am not sure why merchants at other retailers feel they need to piggyback on this, other than the fact that there are a bunch of brands that are already doing deals with Amazon. And if they're already doing those deals, they feel like they should be able to get access to those same deals as well. I am not convinced that it generates substantially enough volume to transform the fortunes of any of these companies. The truth is that big sale days in the United States, because they are so prevalent, generally will at best generate maybe 2 days of the average sale for that quarter, versus in the past where they would have generated one. So I think that there's a little bit of a boost, but it's not something that you couldn't have achieved on your own. Something that you'll notice with a lot of these other kind of copycat sales, whether it's Walmart or Costco or whoever, they actually have a longer period of time that they're extending the sales for. They're doing their sales all week or for 4 days as opposed to just 2 days. So I think that also is a little bit of, kind of these companies having bought into a ton of inventory, and they need to cycle through that inventory.
And, Sucharita mentioned that some of their brand partners might be running promotions. I do wonder, how are you thinking about the way that promotional cycles might be changing as companies continue? And it's shocking that a brand might not have a great e-commerce operation in 2021, but many don't. But they are improving greatly all the time. How much does that change the relationship between, a Target and someone that they're selling who now has a better D2C channel than they would have had, over the last few years?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it is an interesting one because in the future, because it's a bigger discussion than even a Prime Day promotion or a Christmas promotion, we do see brands, big brands, companies like Sonos, Bose, Nike, Adidas, others selling directly to consumers more in the future, and they will likely have their own versions of sales and offers as well. What is interesting is that many of those top brands, companies like Dyson, often come to mind, where they historically don't really discount at all, but occasionally you will see, like there's like a Dyson fan available on Prime Day right now, which is marked down in a way that is pretty unusual for Dyson. That suggests to me that it was likely done probably with the endorsement of Dyson, not some third-party rogue seller, but it probably signified a problem with kind of overproduction of that particular item, which is why it's broadly available and broadly available at a discount. So I think that what may end up happening is that these brands use Amazon as a liquidation channel. I think historically, Amazon may have been used as an acquisition channel in the past. It may have been used to launch new products. And I think that what brands are discovering is that you probably don't want to discount bestsellers. You probably want to discount either products that are struggling or products that are trying to get a foothold in the market.
Interesting. So maybe buyer beware with some of that stuff, or at least do your research before you hit that quick Prime Day buy button. Thank you so much, Sucharita. Good to see you. Sucharita Kodali is Forrester Research Retail Analyst.